those on here. Welcome to my top 16 list of what I consider to be the most underrated movies thus far, or at least in my opinion. And let me just give the warning, if you don't agree, please don't be rude. I'd love to see what yours would be. Okay, let's not waste any more time, let's begin. Number 16. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Just fair warning, this isn't the last Indiana Jones movie we'll see on this list. But the thing is, this one is rated very low compared to the first and third one. And I know it's kind of seems a little more like devilish in a lot of way, but it's entertaining. The acting is great, and while Willie can be on the annoying side, it's still an enjoyable series to sit through, and really deserves more credit. Number 15, Grumpier Old Men. Now, after watching my channel, you probably know that my love for Grumpy Old Men is well known, but Grumpy Old Men got very hammered by critics compared to the first one, and in all honesty, I like the second one a lot better. Sure, there are flaws with the story, but I still think it's a movie worth sitting through. It's funny. It has some really good humor. Not all of it is kid-friendly humor, though. Number 14. Cheaper by the Dozen, the remake with Steve Martin. Now, this one, actually, I love this movie, even since I was a kid. And it was just outstanding. It really works as a comedic movie. Now, the original in the 50s did not really have it could not be any more different than the remake. The original, it was more serious, wasn't really humor-packed, and was not really, like I said, it didn't have a lot of humor. It's back in that time where not everything was a comedy. And how much I liked the remake so much, I actually saw the second one in theaters when it first came out, and I was psyched. I love both the movies. It's really something that really deserves more credit than it's gotten. Critics, what went wrong? Number 13, Daddy Daycare. Now, this one was really hammered by critics due to the fact that the story does get stale, but I think it's still something worth watching because it has a great story about how these two fathers try to do something involving kids. And Eddie Murphy gives a great performance. And with other stars like Steve Zahn, how could this have not made it through? It's funny, it's over the top, it's hammy, it's good. Number 12, Home Alone 3. Now this one was kind of mixed, because, well, sure, it's a different kid, and he's home alone with chickenpox while his family and siblings are out doing their everyday things, like school, work, and whatnot. And he's dealing with, 4 criminals, and they're actually really more dangerous than Harry and Marv were. And the trap sequences this time are pretty much the least realistic, and it makes it all the funnier. Seriously, how could this have gone so bad? I'll just tell you, it could have been a lot worse, and I mean a lot worse. Number 11, Men in Black 2. Now this one was mixed with critics and fans because sure, like, the CGI was not the best in this one. And it had a little problems with the story. Well, there were some problems with the story, but they were minor. I actually found this rather entertaining, and it really deserved a lot more credit, because it's it's funny. It has great acting. Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones really do a good job in this one, and as well as all the others. But I don't know why people hated it so much. Number 10, Scooby-Doo the movie. Now this one was very negatively hammered by critics and fans, mostly because, well, they changed quite a things. Like, there are some like adult jokes in there, and there's some other stuff that's not exactly kid friendly. But the thing is, I love this movie, and many people thought they changed all of it when they changed quite a bit of it, but it still is the same. Some guy is trying to commit a crime by dressing up as a monster, and they're trying to figure out who it is, and then at the end unmask him, and then finally the villain gives the line, "I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for your meddling kids and their dog." Classic. And seriously, I really think this really needed more credit than it's due, with other stars of Rowan Atkinson, and sure, the special effects are not particularly great in this movie, but I think it's something actually worth sitting through. Number 9, Spider-Man 3. Okay, hit with critics, but fans just literally panned on it so much that it had to get a reboot. But I like the story around this time, and many people complain that there were like too many like villains that are kind of clogging up the story, but either way, I thought it was rather interesting. It has great action, great effects, and then I think it actually paid off, with stars this time of Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman, and I really think it really did pay off, and it definitely deserved more love than hate. Number 8, Back to the Future 3. Now this one was a critical success, but not a big success with fans. The thing is, this one has pretty much been kind of left in the dust, because this one was just, some people say it was nothing special, but it's really charming. It actually shows a little more than and focuses on more that mistakes can ruin your future. They did that in the second one, but they didn't focus on it as much. Plus, it is great. It has, and all the original cast is back. It really paid off well, and I really think this needs to be loved more than hated. Number 7, Green Lantern. When I saw this movie in theaters, I actually liked it. Sure, there were flaws, like the story could have been told better and the acting could have been better as well. But the thing is the Green Lantern is one of my favorite characters, and how this has really good visuals, effects. And it's also funny in parts. It's something that I really think should have got more credit than it deserved. It really kind of stands out. Number 6, Batman Forever. Now this one, I believe, was more of a critical flop, because I will admit, like, the story's more family friendly and whatnot. But I think it's a really interesting story on how Batman first met Robin, and then like how and other stars like Jim Carrey as the Riddler and Tim Burton actually directing this really showed what it could have done. And not only are the effects a standout, but it truly deserves more credit. Number 5, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014. Now I know some people are going to argue with me on this, but when I saw it in the theater with Morgan Lance, and I actually liked it, but for some reason I actually knew it wasn't going to be too successful. Well, I will agree that Megan Fox does not give the best performance in the world. It really paid off. I'm sure the turtles look absolutely ugly. Their personalities still remained intact, and that's what truly kept it out of the dark. Because what is Michelangelo if he's not Michelangelo? It's going to flat out suck. But I really, yeah, as I mentioned before, some of the things were a little off. Like, again, if we know from watching the series, Shredder's Foot Clan are supposed to be ninjas, not gun-carrying soldiers. But that I didn't really mind the change, and I really like this story this time around, on how they came to be. It also has great action scenes, and it has a really great story. And I really think this is really underrated. But the first movie was I could sit through like the first and third one, and I can even sit through Secret of the Oz after a couple beers, but I can still sit through it. And this movie really needs more credit. Number 4, The Little Rascals, the 1994 movie. Man, critics hammered on this, but I think they had a great story going, and that really started to show like one side of, like, childhood that's not really talked about much in movies. Well, not in this kind of fashion. Well, it kind of is, but it doesn't really pull it off that well the way this one does. With Alfalfa liking a girl, Earl, and she likes him back, and Spanky kind of being one of those kids that, and along with the other guys, kind of being people at that stage where like girls, like have cooties, whatever. And so Spanky's kind of being like the concerned friend that he's gonna lose Alfalfa because of her, and just. But the film's comedy and chemistry really paid off, and it has really funny scenes. And I love the cast. Bug Hall does an excellent job as Alfalfa. And also I love the neighborhood bully characters, Butch and Wime. They're some of my favorite villains, or should I say antagonists, in any film. They really did capture the thing of what bullies do. And not to mention cameos like of George Wendt as a wood lumberyard clerk, Leah Thompson as a dance instructor, and Donald Trump as Waldo's father. And Whoopi Goldberg as Buckwheat's mom. And I seriously have no idea why people did not like this. It has some funny, has a good message, and just has very over the top acting. Number 3, all the Star Wars prequels. Now for those of you who are young and don't really know what prequel means, these are like episodes 1, 2, and 3, like the ones that were made more recently than the old ones. I was just pointing that out. I'm not saying you're stupid, but anyway, to the point, all these were literally hammered by critics. I really like the action, and so the Phantom Menace really showed how everything came into place with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and so on. Sure, some people consider Jar Jar Binks to be the most annoying character ever made, but honestly, I really kind of get his character. He was literally the clumsiest out of all of the people of his kind, and really shows that he's good enough to save the day at the end. And so the second one comes along, and so like the love story between Anakin and Padme, and like all of them are kind of old-fashioned to the point where like a lot of people will not understand it. But in all honesty, I've liked these prequel movies since I was a kid. I actually have grown up with them, though I did not see episode 3 till I was like 12 or 13. But all of this really has some over-the-top action. They're actually entertaining and really did not deserve this much hate. Number 2, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Well, this one got hammered. When, sure, like the Crystal Skull belonging to an alien really did stretch out the things of realism. But let's just face it, they obviously ran out of ideas. But I really think this actually did work as a standalone movie and not comparing it as a sequel. But the return of Harrison Ford, and all the other characters are just absolutely charming. It has the action scenes, it has the treasure collecting scenes, the traps. It's Indiana Jones. And number 1, Jobs. Now I really wanted to see this movie, and when I did, I was stunned on how really interesting this is. People and critics just hated it. Now this is not a documentary, but it's a full reenactment of Steve Jobs' career and life, and how everything got started. And they actually managed to get the actors to look almost exactly like Steve Jobs and the other guys when they were young. And they actually show the real pictures at the end, and the way they made the actors look is not far off at all. And they actually dug into Steve Jobs' personal life, and I think that really did great. Sure, the performances are not all that great, but the thing is, the concept is just too intriguing, and it really keeps you watching it. And not to mention they managed to film it where it all began. Yeah, man. It really did catch the whole point of what they're trying to tell you. Ooh, but anyway, if you haven't seen it, see it. And I think you'll enjoy it. Alright. Well, everyone, that's my top 16 underrated movies list. Stay tuned for more. Like, comment, subscribe.